Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Well, a few weeks ago, my good friend Phil gave me a call and asked me if I'd be interested in helping him make some new ramps for RV access on the side of his house. He currently has some plastic ramps that are pretty beat up and they're not the right size. He actually has a curb and gutter that he has to back over to access his RV parking on the side of the house to store his boat. So, you know, it doesn't have that drive-through type of deal. You got to get over the curb, and the plastic ramps that he's got going on right now are pretty dilapidated and not the right size, and they're too short, and that's been a problem for him for the last 4 or 5 years. So we're going to make him some metal ramps, the right size, the right width, and hopefully it'll be a lot better for him to get his boat on the side of his house. So let me show you how we're going to do that. Let's get started. Okay, so I started by going out to my metal rack on the side of my house right there, and I grabbed some angle iron that I had sitting around. And this is 2" by 3/16 angle. It's been sitting out there for a while, and I thought really this might be the ideal material to use. I'm trying to keep the costs down on this project. Now, I don't know, most of you guys know that I just don't have any plans for everything I do. Everything I do is build as I go type of thing. And but in this one I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do, and so I just brought that iron over, started ripping it up and cutting it into pieces that I thought I was going to be able to use. And you know, I had a pretty good plan at first right here. So you can see me marking out some of the angles that I wanted to use, and you know, all in all, just started out pretty good. I clamped it up in the Yoast vise and got my cutoff wheel and my angle grinder here, and just cut out some of the angles that I knew that was going to work for me. And you know, this thing works pretty good. This angle grinder with a cutoff wheel, and you know, I know I take the guards off my grinders, and I know that's not the best thing to do, but you know, for me it works out really good. But I don't recommend you guys doing that. It's not the best safety deal, but here it is, and we're moving along pretty good in this project. Okay, so we got some pieces cut out right here, and we're getting ready to start the assembly process. And you know, there's a lot of angles to this. The curb and gutter was kind of uneven in the different elevations, and when I was over there, I was taking some measurements. I thought it'd be a good idea, because of that, is to make some templates. So I went ahead and made 4 wooden templates, one for each side of the ramp of both the left and the right ramps. And I went to all this trouble, and I made these templates. When I got back to the shop, I took a closer look, and they're all almost exactly the same. So in other words, it's not worth trying to match everything up. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to take one template, because that's going to be close enough. And that's what we're going to use to get the angle, the proper angle on these ramps. So what we got here is I'm going to go ahead and put these together. We've done and cut out. I've cut these things out to where they're gonna work. I'm gonna get a clamp on here, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and move this thing to where it's the same angle as my template right here. And then by doing that also, I'm going to need my hammer. I'm going to slide this in like this. Wow, right there. It is almost perfect right there. As a matter of fact, it is perfect. I'm just going to leave it just like that. And so this is the angle that we need. And I'm going to go ahead and get the other one clamped up as well. And we're going to go ahead and start tack welding these things together. Let's do it. Okay, so yesterday is today, or today is tomorrow, whatever you want to call it. I believe this is where we left off. And I have I think we left off with cutting these pieces out and matching them up to the angle here of my template that I've made, and they line up perfectly, much to my surprise, but they are. So the next step is to go ahead and start tacking everything together. Once I got all the angles right, I just started tacking things together. And you know, most of the stuff I do, just about everything I do, is by myself. And so sometimes things get a little bit difficult to do things. You need sometimes 3 or 4 hands. And here you can see I struggle a little bit trying to get this brace into position, and end up having to get a couple blocks of wood to hold it into position. But you know, ultimately we got everything welded in, and it worked out pretty good. Okay, I got my flat piece of bar stock here cut out. That's going to go right here on the bottom, and my angle that is going to work its way into this position right about here. So let's get them tacked in. Alright, so I'm moving along here and cutting piece by piece out and trying to figure out how things are going to work. And you know, it takes a little bit of time. I'm you know, trying to figure out, is it going to work like this or is it going to work like that? But you know, ultimately one piece at a time, and we're making some progress and we're moving along here pretty good. I like it. Right. Perfect. Alright, so the next thing we got to do is cut out a couple of solid, and I'm going to take some 2" by 1/4 plate right here, and I'm going to cut some gussets out that are going to go in here. And as we get started doing that, and also I need a center brace on the very back here. And this thing's got to get all kinds of weird, funny angles cut in it to get up underneath this angle, to get up underneath this angle, to be on that angle right there. So let's get all those gussets and get this thing cut out, and let's go from there. Okay, well, I gotta say I'm a little bitter right now. As your regular viewers know, I have an Everlast Power Plasma 60S, and I buggered that thing up here a few weeks ago, but sent it up to my good friends at Everlast, and they are, you might say, modifying the inside a little bit, and we're going to get that back here in a few weeks. I also have got a porta band coming my way, amongst a few other goodies from a unannounced vendor, and I don't have that yet. And wouldn't you know, I have a project like this right here that would I could gladly use both those pieces of equipment. However, I don't have them, so I'm doing things the old-fashioned way, and that's with the grinding wheel. And it seems to be working out pretty good, no complaints, but I gotta say, I'd much rather be doing this with either one of those 2 pieces of equipment that I currently don't have in my shop. However, let's move forward. You know, I complain a lot about not having my plasma cutter or a porta band, but you know, all in all, you know, my cutoff wheel with this angle grinder here is probably the best tool for this, especially for cutting out these little detailed brackets. You know, it really worked really good, and you know, I made no time at all cutting these things up. It actually worked really good, and cut them out fairly quick. Okay, so I'm down to what I think is my last little piece right here, and I got to say, this project has turned into a lot more than I thought it would ever be. However, we are getting things done. So we're down to this piece right here, and I don't know if you can or can't see it, but there's a lot of little fandangles on there, all kinds of angles, and I got to get in there and cut that out, because that's got to fit the angles that are on everything else I got in this damn project. So let's get her done. Alright, so I'm cutting out this piece right here, and this was a bad scene for me because, you know, I'm trying to give you guys the best angles that I can, and it was right about somewhere in about there where I completely torched my camera lens. That was $250 for a new lens, but you know what, I try to get in tight to give you guys the best angles and the best view I possibly can. So there you go. All in all, got the piece cut out, ruined my lens, but it was a couple of good shots. Well, isn't that a nightmare? Well, my fancy cutting right here doesn't fit exactly the way I thought it was going to fit. It fits in there okay, but got a lot of slop in there, but I really don't think anybody will know the difference. Alright, so I did have a pretty major mistake right here. I had a big gap, about 3/8 of an inch, But you know what? I just put that thing into position and just filled it up, one weld after another, and I got it filled up, and you know, that took care of everything, and we were in good shape. Now I don't know if you guys can see this, but there is a gap underneath here. And the other one fit flat. There's a reason for that. I'll explain later, but I've got that up for a reason. Let's move forward. Okay, so we are moving forward on the project right here, slowly but surely, one aggravation after the other. However, it's starting to look like something. And just think, I got 2 of these things to make. So what we got left here is I got a support that I need to put in the center right here, and I got these little gussets right here that are going to go in here something like this, and I will get them all measured up, get them in the right location, get things welded up, and we're moving forward. Let's do it. Okay, so we're moving along here pretty good. The last thing I got to do is get some gussets here cut out and welded on right underneath here. A little something like that. I got a little trimming to do on this one right here. But I've got 3 of these. There's 3 legs. So I got 3 gussets to put on here. So I got a total of 6 cut out because I'm building another one of these, as you guys know. We need 2 of them. So, and I am not about to film this because I'm still a little pissed off about me not having my plasma cutter to do this, since I could rip this up with a plasma cutter in no time. But now, since I don't, I've got to use my cutoff wheel to do this. So instead of 5 minutes, it could be an hour. So anyways, I'm gonna get these cut out, and then we'll get these things welded on there. So let's do it. One other thing I want to show you guys is pretty cool. I want you to check this out. Can you guys see this little piece of MIG wire right here? Here's what happened. When I went to weld this, tack this gusset in right here, the MIG gun missed it and shot into the table and got this piece of MIG wire stuck on here. And check this out. Can you hear that? Let me take my gloves off. I can almost play a tune with that. Pretty cool. Now well. Alright, so I said I wasn't going to film this, but hey, I did film a couple clips of it, just because I wanted to show you guys. You know, I do complain about not having a plasma cutter, but you know, this angle grinder, it worked really good. And to be honest with you, it only took me about five minutes. I probably did it faster than I could with the plasma cutter. I'm just tacking things into place right here before we're getting ready to weld things out. And things are shaping up and looking pretty good. Well, we're moving ahead just a little bit, and as you can see, I got both ramps all tacked together, and they're ready to get welded out. So there's nothing else left to do but to do it. Let's get her welded out. The only thing we got left after that is get the diamond plate screwed onto the top, and we'll be complete. Let's do it. All right, so we're getting ready to get into a lot of welding right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn on the gas and fire up the Everlast Power iMake 205. And normally, you guys see me, I just weld in, you know, really light gloves and a t-shirt most of the time, and that was fine for all the tack welding. But we're getting ready to get down to some business here and long continuous welding. So I got my leathers on and a decent pair of welding gloves and ready to get going. Let's do it. So we started the welding out process here, and you know, I gotta say, there's days that you're on and there's days that you're off. And on this particular project, on this day right here, of course, when I'm starting to weld things out, I couldn't, you know, get a decent looking weld to save my life. It just seemed like I struggled with the settings on the machine. I tried every possible thing there was. I don't know if it was the mill scale or the rust, or probably it was just me, but you know, I struggled through this whole project right here, and I gotta say, I adjust the settings on my machine 10 different times trying to get the right combination, and it just couldn't, I just couldn't make it happen. And you know, not to mention that I'm trying to weld things out right here, and my hands are slipping, I'm shaking. It was just a disaster. But hey, I can tell you this, I don't think this thing's going anywhere. They may not be the prettiest looking welds, but I don't think we're gonna have a structural problem with them whatsoever. Here's a good shot. You can see how crooked it is going up there, and just struggling. But you know, we got it all done, and it worked out pretty good. Here's some of the mess, or the welds. You know, not too bad. Like I said, it's not going to break. So after this was all done, I ended up getting my my grinder and grinding off the flat part of this thing to accept the diamond plate, and well, worked out pretty good. Okay, so we got both ramps completely welded out and ground down and smoothed off with flap disc in the areas that are going to be receiving the diamond plate right here. But before we get this thing primed and painted and get this project complete, I wanted to go over something with you guys. If you can notice right here, the center post right here, I have some clearance underneath the center post, and also underneath this front bar that runs across here. You can see this is a piece of 3/16 strap, and you can see that I can run that all the way through on this center post right here. And the reason why I have it like that is because I've planned this thing so these 4 points will sit on the concrete surface, because I'm not certain what the concrete does in between all this. The curb and gutter might have a little bit of roll to it, and if that's the case, if I put everything nice and flat to it, it would probably want to teeter on that. So I just wanted to be sure that the 4 outside corners had points where it could sit to, and it would reduce the rocking possibly. But yet at the same time, only 3/16 difference right here would allow, if you back something heavy over this thing, it would have to flex a little bit. At least it would have a point for it to rest on the concrete when it got there, and instead of completely collapsing. At least that's my theory. That's you know, hopefully that's going to work out. We'll find out soon enough. But that's what we're going to do. And now we're going to prime this thing, and I'm going to use this product I used on my last project. It's a Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer. What it does, it says it instantly converts rust to a protected paintable surface. Now, as you can see, that this angle iron here was rusty, and you know, I can't get in every corner to get all the rust out. I did take my flap disc and go over the areas that I could ground off, but this stuff worked pretty good on the last project I used, and so that's what we're going to use. We're going to get a couple coats of this product on here for the primer. We're going to get a couple coats of paint, and then we're going to put the diamond plate on, and this project will be complete. So let's do it. So we're down to putting the last of the diamond plate on top of our ramps right here, and what I've got is I've got some 1/8" thick aluminum diamond plate that I had cut out my local metal supply store. I'm still a little pissed off about my plasma cutter not being here. Otherwise I would have cut this up with my plasma cutter. Bought my metal supply store, gladly sheared this thing up to size for me for a few bucks. I think that'll be just fine. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just attach this on here. It seems to fit perfectly. We sheared it just right, apparently. And I'm going to clamp it down. And we get the other side clamped down. I kind of like that. Maybe just a skosh this way. All right, I like it. So we're gonna go ahead and just drill it out. I think it's this on number 11 drill bit right here, and we're going to be using these 3/16 by 1/2 inch Stanley aluminum pop rivets, and we're going to be applying those with my new pneumatic pop rivet gun. So with that said, let's get started. Alright, so I started drilling the holes out right here, and I was drilling about every 6 inches apart, I guess. And I gotta say, there was a lot of holes between these two ramps, and I used this one drill bit through the whole way through, and that thing held up pretty good. One thing I did learn is when you drill all these holes, you should be putting pop rivets. Drill a couple holes, put a pop rivet or two, drill a couple more holes, put a pop rivet. I drilled a lot of holes, and you can see what happened is it moved around on me, so I had to put a couple pop rivets in, then come back and drill a few of the holes right back out. Not a real big deal, but anyways, you make mistakes, you learn from them, and you don't do it again. So we're just about finished up here. It's working out really good. Okay, well, that was the last rivet. I think they're officially complete. I got this one done and that one done over there. And let's get things cleaned off. Let's take a closer look at it. Okay, so there you go. The RV curb access ramps are complete. These things turned out really nice. They are perfect for what Phil needs. Now I want to remind everybody that this is not for everybody. These dimensions, length, height, and width, and angles are all built especially for what my buddy Phil's applications are over at his house. They work perfectly. They do. You're probably saying, hey, those things are super heavy. Well, you know, I did put them on the scale. They're not light. 51.5 pounds each. But, you know, all in all, that's really not too bad considering that Phil only has to go about 10 feet from his RV gate to the curb, and these things are going to be right behind the gate, so it's not that far to get them set up. And Phil's a big guy, so I don't think it's a problem, especially out of 6, 7, or 8 times a year that he uses them. So anyways, this was a great project. Worked really well over there. It's a perfect situation for him, and I had fun building it. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more videos.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.